All right, everybody out there in the Craft Chest Nation, it's Craft Chest here, and we're going to rewind a little bit and go back and show you the after install of the McMahon alternator and a little bit of voltage testing on a single battery. And then tomorrow, and it's going to be on a different amp also, not as powerful of an amp, was what I tested in the video you're about to watch, which was the Crescendo S1V2, rated at 1650 watts, RMS at 13.8 volts. We're rocking 15 volts right now, 14 solid 14.8 to 15 volts in the car on double batteries now. And I'm going to have to actually hook it up at a later time, but let me tell you why I'm posting it like this. Combing through the footage of the U18 subwoofer box, going back and watching the footage, rewatching it, trying to find some good, bad, the ugly on the video series that I have from the GoPro footage. Not really that exciting of a watch, just quite honestly. Not pleased with the footage that I got. Not that the excitement isn't there. I mean, there was a lot of good learning experiences as far as doing a ported box, because I haven't done a ported box. Oh my God, it's got to be 30 years. I mean, when ported boxes were just becoming popular back in the late 80s, early 90s, was the last time I even fooled with ported boxes. I've always been part of the sealed box mafia. You know what I mean? And so it's just been a learning curve. Plus, blowing the box up after putting it all in, getting done with it, 7 o'clock, we're ready to rock and roll down the road, and just blew the bolts out of the top of the box just by sheer motor force. The box was secure to the platform, and the platform blew itself off the floor. And so the box all kicked sideways, bolts coming out of the lid, and I'm like, what is all this? I wasn't even going full tilt on it. I didn't have the voltage up. The voltage was like 51 on the amp gain, so the gain wasn't even at half as far as that's concerned. It was just sheer motor force of that U18 inside that car. Now, once I went back and we have redone it, I'm going to show you the footage, and we're going to do a retake of it and just walk you step by step of where we were, and I'll splice in footage. And then the after of where I did the redo. And I could have got some footage in here last night, but it looks like, I hope that's thunder, because that just, what is all that? It's 10 o'clock at night. What is all that out there? It looks like somebody come through here and just wrecked the house right now. I mean, it's not that bad. But there's just equipment and tools over here and boxes I got to throw away and gather up on things. And I just didn't want all that to be seen. Floor all jacked up. I got to vacuum again. And just et cetera, so forth. So I didn't film what I did last night as far as the redo. I posted a picture on Das Tweets on the after resealing the inside. Didn't really show anything on the lid, which I'll show you that tomorrow. I don't know if I got any footage of that today or not. Shit, I forgot to get that footage. Or did I? I don't know. I may have. I got to get the GoPro. I got the GoPro sitting over here. So anyway, that's where we're at. So the building of it, test fits and all that other good stuff, not really that exciting. I'll try to find some exciting points in there and splice them in, and then pick up tomorrow and splice in some more. So it'll be a couple of days before we get that video out. So in the meantime, I'm going to give you the after carnage of installing the McMahon and the power struggles that I went through with a belt tensioner, and then show you the actual install itself after it's in the car, because installing an alternator is pretty straightforward. 2 to 4 bolts, mine's 3. Take it off. Hardest part's getting the belt tensioner off of any vehicle, making sure your belt fits and all that good stuff, and then there you go, running your wires. And that's what everybody's always interested in, is where you ground, where you run your wires, how did you do it, do you have the proper grommets, etc., so forth, and which we do on all that. So I'll show you that. So it'll be pretty short after I get done rambling right here. All right. And another reason why I want to go back and do some more footage on the test box that's in the Defiant right now is the initial impressions of both the amplifier and the subwoofer and the enclosure. And don't get me wrong when I say this. It sounds good, and I know the subwoofer has to break in. I get it. But it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's a different sort of, I don't know, rumble bass, I guess. It's smoother, yes, but it doesn't have that punch that I really like out of sealed enclosures. Does that make sense? And I'm not trying to do hair tricks. All right? I'd love to do one. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to do hair tricks. Everybody wants to do that. Even the people that say I ain't worried about hair tricks. Yeah, you do. You know you do. You want to do a hair trick with some 6x9s. You know you do. So anyway, I know it's a different type of enclosure, different sub, different box, different power, but the JP23 from Down for Sound, rated 2300, we know to do more than that. I got the voltage, I got the double batteries, we got the 0 gauge, we got everything right. 8 gauge sub leads, everything is right. Took our time doing it. And quite honestly, I'm not impressed. I don't know why. I'm not impressed. And I'll show you some footage tomorrow. I'll capture some footage during the daytime. I would be doing it right now, but the neighbors go to bed at dark. Like, there's this old woman that, not that I'm looking, but I'll be like wrapping it up, cleaning it up outside. She's going to the bedroom, closing the blinds, and you see her putting her nightgown on at dark, like 6 o'clock at night. Like, what? It's 6. And so I got to wrap stuff up because they're like literally right there. And this is like a megaphone horn chamber from in between the houses. I was sitting out there getting GoPro footage. I kept hearing an echo. I'm like, Jesus, I'm not even talking loud. It's bouncing off their house and like, you know, amplifying my voice. I wasn't even talking that loud. So I had to shut it down. And I have to shut it down these days because these people sleep on this side of their house. Everybody else that's ever lived in that house, they slept and did everything on the opposite side, on the street side of the house. Not these people. Oh, no. So, like, if I went out there right now, I'd have a complex if I bothered them or not, just sitting in my car. You know what I mean? So there's that. And now I'm off on a tangent and a ramble. But the bottom line is, the point is that I know that not everything's sealed up on the car. I get it. All right? Not all the air voids are sealed up. But still, it's not that I'm looking for a louder sound, but I'm looking for that punchy bass. I don't know how to put it. I'm not trying to shake stuff. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. And I may be wrong, and I'm going to drive around tomorrow a little bit, listen to some different genre of music like I normally do. Maybe go sit out in an empty parking lot somewhere where I'm not bothering anybody and, you know, play at a moderate volume, let the subwoofer break in and all that good stuff at the same time and see what's going on. I don't know. And if I end up not liking the subwoofer enclosure, not that I'm going to get, and it's not that I don't even think the JP23 is not doing power. I need to clamp it. I don't have a clamp meter, like a amperage, or I could get an idea. Got a voltmeter. I don't have a amperage meter. If I did, I could get a roundabout of what output it's actually giving me at the voltage that I have the gain set at. And the gain is set at where it's supposed to be, right around 68 volts, I think it is. Doing the little setup, and of course, you know, you're not going to play it that loud because that's max volume setting the voltage. Then you back it down to about 3/4 at max, you know, is where you should be at as far as getting your sound quality without clipping. Does that make sense? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anybody out there that knows anything about it knows what I'm talking about. So it's set right. It's set properly. It's just something ain't right with what I'm hearing. And maybe it's just that I'm not used to a ported enclosure. All right, so that's where we're at. And I don't know. It just may be, I may be just weird like that. So if I end up, I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to leave it in there for about a week. I'm off today. I'm off tomorrow. Tomorrow I got to go do chores anyway, so we'll go do laundry and all that, drive around a little bit, get an idea, get some footage. It's really hard, though, to find some non-copyright bass music. Maybe I'll comb through YouTube's library and see what I can come up with so we can get an idea of is it for me or not. Because if it's not, then I'm just going to take it out and put my 12s back in. This box that I have for the 12 sitting right over here. And I'm going to do what I said I was going to do to begin with. What I should have done to begin with anyway is go ahead and just get me some SA12s, slap off in here, put that on the JP23 and call it a day. Because I know those will handle it. And I'll even get the 2 ohm and run it at a half ohm and set that back to where it doesn't burn itself up. Because I know we got enough amperage now to run it. That's not a problem. Got enough voltage and everything else to run those. So that's what maybe what we end up with. And, you know, I may have to, I don't know, find a home for this U18. And the U18, don't get me wrong, U18s are amazing. They're amazing. But those suckers are power hungry, I could tell. And I think they like sealed enclosures better. I'm kind of thinking that before I do give up on it, I want to get the other 18. I just don't want to go spending thousands of dollars on this build. I don't know. This has turned into a vlog instead of that. I don't even know if I'm going to splice in that alternator video. I'll post the alternator video next, and we'll just call this a vlog, because now this is just like an update for you as to why I haven't posted any subwoofer box stuff. But what was I saying? The SA12s, and 12s sound good in that trunk, man. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I don't know if it's the fact of how that deck sits back there, or the way the bass is going back. And half of the, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of thinking it does. Half of the spare tire compartment, which is completely empty, gets that bass, rolls it back, goes through the side ports, which they're, you know, anybody that's seen any footage or pictures of how it was back there knows that there's about this much space on either side, both sides of the box, because the top is pretty much sealed. I mean, it's got little pinholes where, you know, the plate went up there and brackets, but the 6x9s plug that hole pretty good, seals it up. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe I may be calling it wrong, so don't, you know, don't make me swear to the right terminology. It's almost like it's a modified, larger fourth order type of, you know, using your trunk as the actual other chamber, and then those side ports, almost like a sixth order, if you think about it, because of the side holes that come to the front. I don't know. I may be tripping. Maybe that's not what you call it. Fourth order, sixth order, somewhere in there. Trunk order, infinite baffle. I don't know. It's either fourth or sixth. I don't know. But all I know is that for these subwoofers to be 300 watt RMS, the Sundown LCS 12s, each wired down, I got 2 of them, wired down to 1 ohm on that crescendo, to me, right now, sounds punchier, louder, shakier, everything than that one U18 on a JP23 in a ported enclosure. And I guess that's where I'm getting at. Initial impressions. I don't know. And I may be tripping. But I don't know. We'll see. So look forward for another video, because I'm just going to go ahead and call this a vlog and post it like this. Look forward to the next video being alternator install, the McMahon 240, I think it is what I put in there. And then we'll pick up from there and go back to the new subwoofer enclosure. And once we get there, I think you'll see what I'm talking about, or maybe hear. I don't know. The microphones on GoPros are actually pretty good. It like auto adjusts it down, but it doesn't crackle or anything like on a lot of them. Actually, they're pretty impressive microphones on those. I think those are designed that way for like people that do free falls and all that, jumping out of airplanes, parachuting and all that, wind and all that good stuff. So it protects itself. I wish phones did that. Phones, man, you can just kill them. They just whatever. All right. So I guess that's it. 15 minutes and 35 seconds in. Turn it into a vlog, everybody. Stay tuned. It's a craft of the mind. Go out there and have some fun. Woo! Damn. I did not mean for that to happen.